Hola, ¿cómo estás? Bienvenidos. It's another week with the Bearded Bros Golf Show. I'm Rod.
And now Marcus.
Talking about Greg Norman and, why I just think he's a horrible human being and lives on these talking points, even though they aren't necessarily valid. I have the story linked in the description here from ESPN underneath the tab with Greg Norman, but I'm just going to read it from my screen here. He says a couple things that just conflict right off the bat. He says, as a former player, I'm all about the independent players' rights, period. Then we go completely left. I'm all about the players being able to earn more money and go where they need to go to earn more money or even stay somewhere to earn more money. And you're seeing that now. So I do hope that some agreement in some way, shape, form, or fashion comes about private equity investing into golf. We've got it. Hopefully, it takes place in other institutions as well. I think money is the focus there. And when he talks about former players and players being independent, if you go to live, you sign a contract. And I think what's been very obvious with this John Rahm signing and just the week that we've experienced it, he said a lot of things about things he's not able to contractually do or
AJ, hold on.
say.
I'm so sorry. AJ, hold on. I'm so sorry. A lot of numbers being reported. Are any of them accurate?
I'm not going to comment on that.
He mentioned in interviews this week that he cannot have any press after last week's kind of press run where he went on Fox News and then Pat McAfee's show on ESPN, that he had to shut up for the next 2 months. And that's contractually obligated. So when Greg Norman talks about players being independent, but live players are on a contract, I just find it disingenuous. And then he starts talking about the money. Let's just keep it a buck. And we've said this. It's about the money. Just say it's about the goddamn money, man. Stop trying to fluff it up and say it's about the growth of the game globally
Yep.
and, being able to spread my reach. You don't care. As long as your checkbook is flush, as your checking account is flush with money and your
Right.
investments are being fed, let's keep it 100. And that's, I don't know. Go angry on Greg Norman. I know you got it in you.
No, I don't. I mean, it's Greg Norman. We've
Okay.
already we've explained many times before. He is literally just a puppet being held by a string contractually as well. You're just saying what these guys want you to say or telling you to say. Nothing you have to say has brought value to live. Nothing you've done has brought value to live. Nobody's coming to live because Greg Norman is the CEO or head guy. Nobody is here with this dirty ass money because of Greg Norman. You're already evil. You've already said your piece. You talk wild crazy about the politics of America. I just don't have a lot of things to say because I try not to entertain Greg Norman as it is. So, as much as I would like to go off, I don't even know what you're talking about because I try to read past everything that has to do anything even remotely with Greg Norman except for Live. And that's just because we need to know that information for the show. So
I know. I know.
so
I know you have a little bit of
respectfully,
fire.
right, respectfully, let's just keep it at that. So I don't get in trouble with mom for all the curse words I would really like to say.
Speaking of money and grimy people, Jay Monahan, that segues into our next story and how kind of grimy this whole situation is. PGA Tour
Hmm.
as well. So we find out from filings because PGA Tour is a nonprofit, so they have to publicly file that Jay Monahan's compensation went from 13.9 million to 18.6 million within the span of a year, a 34% jump, and 9.2 of that is a bonus and incentives. For someone who is compensated that well, he did a poor job of managing the crisis that has encountered the PGA Tour over the last 2 years. When it comes burning bridges with his, players, speaking publicly, using horrible talking points, all these things that honestly are just pretty crappy. He started off with the line about throwing 9/11 families into the mix as a justification to dislike Liv was pretty weak sauce, especially when you end up having to come along and sign a deal with these guys at the end of the day. So we're gonna keep using today's term, the term of the day, until it's completely worn off and gone mainstream. Jay Monahan doesn't stand on business at all. He just does not have the ability to do that. What do you think about Jay Monahan also digging in the cookie jar as well? Not that we are surprised by that at all.
Honestly, with this, I just feel like a tap on the back really is needed because once again, just something we've already harped on. The money was going to be coming from somewhere, and that's all that needed to be known. He was getting paid off to be doing all this wild ass shit he's doing. There's no way he was just doing this on his own volition, especially after the grimy shit he had to say about it in the start. So again, like we just have to talk about it. But like, this is just garbage because Jay Monahan already knew what he was getting into when he said what he
Yeah.
said. And again, he's not standing on business. He done switched up. He done switched up. He done went from left field to right field. Now he's trying to go into the dugout and hide with his money already. You can't be a manager, bro. You're still a player, or you need to go back down to the minor leagues and get your shit together. Again, it's just really garbage overall from Jay Monahan in
Yeah.
general. And hopefully we don't get a defamation suit because he is just garbage. Like, I mean,
No.
garbage.
No, it's garbage behavior. It's fair use and fair commentary on the behavior. For him, honestly, him working back rooms, um, really in the framework agreement, there is I believe, a clause that allows him to stay in power and call the majority of the shots. So he's been working the
Right.
back room this entire time. So
Exactly.
definitely not surprised that he's got increased compensation over the last year. Wouldn't be surprised if he's got a waterfall payment coming to him at some point in time when and if any deal closes. Just the ability or navigating to bring more money into the PGA Tour, the
Some
for
offshore
profit.
account.
He's got
Yeah.
something coming to him at the end of the day.
In
We just
Monaco, some
non
non-taxable,
trackable. I know.
right. Something that can't be, like taken from him. Like, oh, we can't freeze that because it's actually in Cyprus. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
He got some money
Moving on.
tied up somewhere.
He does. He does. One more thing on this part of it, and just a quick mention. So the rank and file PGA Tour players, none in the top 100, filed a lawsuit this week as well, seeking more transparency about any framework deal that would bring money into the PGA Tour. The
Hmm.
unfortunate part for them in this lawsuit is that yeah, things are moving too damn fast for this lawsuit to give them any level of resolution to what they're seeking. Hopefully, there's some language that, the filing wasn't, I didn't go through it all, but hopefully, there's some language that this is more so for the long term, because in the short term, in this current situation, there's not enough time for some court to do an injunction or for, to stop
Right.
the
They've already
talks that are
lost this
going
battle.
on. Yeah, it's too little, too late. They should have filed this months ago, when the PGA Tour essentially, had the ceasefire with the Saudi PIF, and I believe that date was June 6th. They should have been very shortly behind that, seeking transparency. Or the first time you learned that Jay Monahan, which was June
Went
6th,
over your
lied to
head.
you to your face, you should have
Yeah,
been
went over
asking
your
for
head.
transparency then.
Mhm.
So you can't be butthurt now. You get a lot of stuff out of this channel, y'all. A little business knowledge, a little technical golf knowledge, a little BS in here and there. You're in a well-rounded environment. So uh,
Absolutely.
hit that subscribe button, hit that membership button. We got you covered on all things golf.